Buddy, it's about 10:31 a.m. We'll call a public safety meeting to order. If you would please mute or turn your cell phones off. Becky, would you do roll, please, Becky?
I sure will. Mike Copine,
Here.
Keen Hudson,
Here.
Katie White, Angie Shippert,
Here.
Mike Pearson.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, I just had a request, so I'm going to jump in with a special announcement from Mr. Jared Yater. He's going to update us with some stuff that he has been covering under zoning. Go ahead, Jared.
Talk about putting me on the spot. I didn't know I thought I was just here for questions. So,
No, you can.
so those of you that don't know, maybe everybody in here knows that I'm working with zoning, following up on building permits, junk properties, things of that nature, helping people get rid of cars with the sheriff's office, with junk going the junk title route through the state, so we can legally have a junkyard remove the vehicles. Well, I don't know where to begin because there's several that I'm working on. I don't even know the numbers right off. And we have 47 going now for the entire county. And probably we get 1 or 2 a week. So that number keeps going up. So Alice and I are working on a vendor list. This is just in the, can I mention it? Beginning stages this week. We're trying to figure out a way. When I go to a property, I can deal with the cars. I can deal with the scrap metal type stuff because there's plenty of people that will come take that. Sometimes I run into tires. Well, often I run into tires or some big plastic thing like a bed liner or something. I don't know what to do with them. So we're looking into contacting as many people as we can that would participate in allowing us to list them in a vendor list so I can provide that to the property owner, make it a lot easier and more efficient. Because what I've noticed is if I put it all out there for them and do all the homework for them, it moves a lot quicker. So that's what we're working on, is seeing legally how we can do it. Probably have to talk with the state's attorney's office about them signing off on not holding us responsible. So if they run a chop shop, we're not responsible, which could happen. We just don't want anything, we don't want to participate in anything that's being done illegally, obviously. But does anybody have any questions? I kind of jumped all over a little bit there, but there's it's interesting because I did this for the sheriff's office as far as junk properties, but not to this extent, and with junk vehicles. I find that people want to work with me, which was really strange. I thought not going in uniform, going in plain clothes, I would probably be up against a wall, and I haven't really had that problem. And people call me back, they send me, they text me progress. So I get play-by-plays from properties. Here I moved the boat, or I did this, and I get them constantly. So it's interesting, and we've moved, I don't know if you discussed this earlier, but we have moved a lot of cars thanks to the sheriff for helping provide the information that we need, that zoning needs to get them legally removed. And once we do that and we provide the junkyard that information, they don't hesitate to come take the vehicles. I'll answer any questions you have. Yes.
I'm unfamiliar with the program. So is this a voluntary thing? People are wanting these vehicles removed, or what's?
So zoning will get a complaint about a property. that has junk on it, or I'll notice it, or one of us will notice it, or board member. And then the first thing I do is try to go talk to them, the property owner. If I see that it's a violation, I take some pictures and then I go and try to talk to the property owner. I would say 90% of the time, if I go knock on the door, we eliminate needing to do much more than just me telling them what the problem is or what the items are, giving them 2 weeks to do something about it. And if I go back by and see nothing's done or they're making progress, I just tell them, I stop in and say, thanks for doing that much. Can we get a couple more things taken care of in 2 weeks?
Mhm.
So that's how, did I answer your question?
I think so. I mean, so then if they continue to not comply or whatever, what do we do with the vehicles? Are we still just removing them? We're going in, or what's that look
No,
like?
okay, so I don't see us ever going in and doing that, just going in ourselves and removing the stuff. I think we would have to use the court system, but as far as the vehicles go, the sheriff I would turn it over to the sheriff's office because I can't write violations, but they can for junk vehicles. That's the only thing I think that your office can write for us. I'm not sure, but I would turn over junk vehicles to them.
Mhm.
And they would write them a citation, then I'm out of it. Then they have a court date and they have all that and a fine of $100.
Okay.
So there's only 2 out of, I'm just throwing this number out there, 60 plus that I've done that dug their heels in.
Mhm.
That really dug their heels in. And I really can't myself handle or control that. So I would have to have the courts or somebody else step in and force the issue.
Okay, thank you so much for
Yeah, you're
answering.
welcome.
Any more questions for Jared? Thanks, Jared.
Oh,
Alex,
you're
for
welcome.
coming in, appreciate it.
Hey, Mike, just
Is-
a comment.
Go ahead, Tom.
Jared, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Appreciate it.
The incognito worked pretty good because I was in the zoning office here a few days ago. Jared was standing there doing something at the computer. I had no clue who he was because I haven't seen him since he's grown the additional coverage there. Until he said something. When he said something, then I knew who he was. And he says that is basically a better uniform, so to speak, for him than being in a, law enforcement situation.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's I don't know, strange is probably not the right word, but it's so interesting how I was driving to Wisconsin, and during my drive to Wisconsin, I bet I spoke to 3 people that had called me and said, hey, sorry, I'm not getting to it. This happened or that happened, but they're talking to me. And I think on that level, it does seem a little different. Like they don't want to call into the sheriff's office necessarily or make it formal, I guess. It seems a little more, it seems easier for them.
I think from my standpoint of view, from the previous occupation of law enforcement, I think a lot of people get intimidated when they see a man in uniform wearing a badge and a gun, and they think, oh, Lord,
Here comes a
what-
citation.
Now what?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more soft.
But we need that teeth though on there are some that we need the teeth of the uniform and the sheriff's office, but
Well, but they know that if you mention that, that's what's to come, and the likelihood of
yeah. And I never-
cooperation is going to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, they never approach people right away with, you're doing this wrong and you're doing that wrong.
Right.
This is why I'm here. Let's work something out. That's how I approach it. Never mention anything about courts or any of that stuff. Find out A lot of times I find out there's a problem. If the dad died, left the stuff. Somebody's been ill. One of them has cancer that I'm working with. You learn that way on how to handle it. Have to get firm a couple times with people that have done nothing. And then they call and Alice to try to get out of it or whatever. Then she just reaffirms that we've got to move forward. And it really hasn't been an issue.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, Jared, I want to commend you on how you're doing this because I'm getting reports, feedback from that you're doing a great job on this. Your approach is great, and you're not upsetting the public.
I try not to.
And
Yeah.
I like your approach from what I'm hearing, and I just want to commend you
Yeah.
on a job well done.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I have to add this too. I think it's kind of interesting as people are figuring out my truck. So I pulled into Woodland Shores area and I started getting phone calls. Are we okay? Are we doing all right? And it's just random. I go into any other area. I'm not just picking on Woodland Shores or picking out that location. It's just, I'm getting that where they'll be a little worried that they might not be doing what I asked them to do. But yeah, it seems to be going well. I might have just jinxed myself, but so far so good.
Okay, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the minutes. Does anybody have any corrections, additions, or changes to be made?
No, sir.
Okay, if not, then we'll accept the minutes as submitted. Let's see, do we have Terry's not on? Okay, we'll keep moving.
Yeah, no, Terry, unfortunately, they have surgery day today, and there's a dog owner there right now. But she did want to thank the maintenance department, specifically Chris. They've had some issues with some of their outdoor paneling with some of the dogs tearing that down, and the maintenance department has been quick to go over there and help fix that for them. So she just wanted to make sure that I commended the maintenance department on that.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. Okay, circuit clerk, Amy.
Good morning. I just wanted to briefly bring you guys up to speed on our search for the new case management system. We have narrowed it down to 2 vendors, and we are in the process of getting the updated quotes and setting up a final demo with one vendor. If not in person, then probably by Zoom, so we can get that taken care of soon. When we first started this process, it was over about a year ago at this time. And it was just the circuit clerk's office that was looking to change. That's kind of changed over time, and we're trying to add in some other departments to possibly get on board, because I believe in a perfect world that we'd all be on the same system. But that might not be what's going to happen, but we just had to look out there and see what everybody wanted to do. So that's why it's kind of taken a little bit longer than I thought. So with that being said, I'm hoping we will have a final decision very soon and see what the county wants to do, if we're all going to go on board or if just 1 or 2 departments are going to go, but that's where we're at. So does anybody have any questions?
Well, okay, if there's no questions, we'll move on.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Lally informed me that he would not be able to make it today. However, his report is on file, so if you need any information from his office, it's available in the packet. Okay. If there are questions, he's available by phone, but he's just tied up, catching up with a lot of paperwork, so he has to get done. So if there aren't any questions, we'll move on. Okay. Stacy.
Good morning. Recently, we had a circuit-wide training for the probation officers of the 15th Judicial Circuit that was held in Galena. This is something that we do annually. There's about 50 probation officers that attended this conference just 2 weeks ago. This seems to be the time of year that a lot of trainings are taking place. We also have a problem-solving courts conference that's coming up as well as the statewide probation and court services conference that'll be taking place in October as well. And next week, we also have a training which a number of the department heads are attending. It's an emergency preparedness training. And I know Kevin will be involved with that as well. So hopefully he's available when we take that trip up to, excuse me, Kane County for that training. But that's putting a plan together on should a very severe crisis take place. We have plans and implementations of what to do when that happens. Does anybody have any questions? That's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Stacy. Appreciate it. Sheriff, your turn.
I think you have the monthly report and you're on board. Just to highlight a couple things. One thing I did overlook, I mentioned in my report about how we assisted the city of Amboy over depot days, and that there was no major incidents. I neglected to overlook during the midst of the Depot Day parade, they had a medical call at one of the taverns. A woman went down with a seizure and then was unresponsive and not breathing. So one of Amboy police officer Tom Lehman and Deputy Kyle Kellen responded to that location, began CPR. Deputy Kellen administered the AED and administered a shock and brought the individual back. So we had a good life-saving effort there. I do want to recognize them in one of the upcoming county board meetings. Just need to get the plaques in hand. I've got them ordered already, but haven't received them yet. So that's one thing I overlooked. That was a very good item. I've had a couple at the end. You can see I had some couple staffing issues. I lost a road deputy to the private sector. He submitted his 2-week notice about 2 weeks ago. He's done. And another correctional deputy submitted his resignation on Monday, but did not provide 2-week notice and is off or is gone. We have another correctional deputy is off on extended medical leave. His wife was involved in a very serious traffic accident. Has some major medical issues that he's working with her on. And then actually another patrol deputy just had a baby this morning. So he's going to be off for a substantial period of time too. That's.
Sheriff, do we do any type of a exit interview when, for example, the guy leaves for the private sector or civilian activity?
Sometimes we do based on the employee and the reason for why they're leaving.
Well, that would be, I understand what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I know
In this situation, no.
quite a while back, we had talked about exit interviews or whatnot, just for the general purpose of knowing what was going on, if we could find out. All right, thank you. Does anybody have any further questions for the sheriff?
Yeah,
Okay.
so exit interviews are part of the handbook and administrative process, and typically we do that exit interviews. And as the sheriff pointed out, I mean, depending upon the employee and whether and how they resign is if we can get an exit interview in or not. And some are not willing to do so as well.
Okay, Mr. Boonstra, your turn.
Thanks, sir. A lot of the stuff has already been covered by Stacy and Amy as we've been talking about their transition with the case management software. And we've been working with Amy's office to try to figure out how we're going to integrate with what we have, or if there's going to be something else we need to do moving forward. One of the big things we've been dealing with over the last month, and there'll be a press release coming along with this. I've been working with Amy to put that together. PayCourt is the new collections agency that we're going with. And we've been trying to get all of our ducks in a row to get that started. So there won't be much information for me to give you today in terms of numbers collected because we've terminated our contract with the other one. Again, we've just been moving forward with trials and trying to resolve cases as best we can. We have trials going through the end of January right now. So there's quite a bit on the docket. Other than that, that's all I've got for you.
Any questions for the state's attorney? Okay, thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it. Okay, up next, we've got the report from the Property Focus Group. Jeremy, I'm not going to put you on the spot because Jeremy was not able to attend the session, but we did conduct it with the three members accepting responsibility amongst themselves.
I'm proud of you guys. I knew you could do it.
Well, it wasn't without a couple of deep swallows or whatever, just to make sure it went real well. We basically had an update on some of the older properties. I kind of stepped up, not to take the credit, but express my unhappiness over the old Lee County Infirmary and our lack of response thereof for securing it. Jeremy just told me this morning that he and Sam from the health department had a little tour of it out there the other day at their own time. And Jeremy, would you like to highlight on that or?
Yeah, sure. Sam and myself from the health department went out and did an external viewing of the area to not pose any trespassing issues. There is a property owner on the other side of the property that let us on her property, and we were able to get some photographs of the area. And the building itself is in a very deplorable state where it's really actually falling in on itself. And so we're in the process of writing up a letter of issuance and posting from the health department standpoint, so we can get that posted. And then I'm going to work with council on next steps to start trying to get some conversations going with the landowner itself to take action upon that. And then we'll look at next steps on how we want to move forward. But it is a very substantial safety hazard. I mean, if anybody were to go out there and try to roam around in that building, I would be very worried for them.
The biggest concern being that there's several houses that are just south of that complex, and they have smaller children and grandchildren that come out and visit family, and it's a pretty good eye invitation for a private fort, or, back when we were little kids, imagining what we could do in a building like that. So if we can just get them to put a fence up, which just puts that much more challenge to the fact that they're not supposed to be on the property, might not be the way to go, but at least we've taken the initiative to try and get the property owners to do something that's safer than where we're at. Any questions on the? Okay, I don't have anything showing under unfinished business, nothing under new business. And Charlie, unless you have anything under executive session, I don't have anything showing either. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Keene.
Second. I'll second.
Angie seconded it. I missed you, Mike. Sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.